number one BS in the interweb. We're back, 2026 season. Gaz and I will get the rest of the shows posted. So I think we're gonna chill on Saturday next week, guys, just because corporate holiday for sake of argument. 15th, Lauren Lepre, writer, director, actor of The Dark Military, which Gaz brought to the channel, as well as Camera X out now. So the only thing we're, what's up, boppers? The only thing that we're really promoting, so to speak, at the time being is our film, Camera X to KAP word, for sake of censorship. Go check that out on Tubi. Free. We're not asking for anything that requires money. Literally all the solutions, options that we give you are free. So if you watch the film, check it out. If you haven't seen it yet, you can rate it on IMDb if you have an account, and just either give it a rating or give it a review. Ratings or reviews help. As well as you can join a Tubi account for free via your Gmail. Everybody has a Gmail, same way you join like the PXF Patreon free. Just log in, or even if you don't have a Gmail, you can just put in your email on your TV and it will send you a link. So it's literally a one click. You don't have to put in your address and your social security number, give them a DNA sample and a fingerprint. Literally just one link in your email. You sign right in, save, wish list it or watch list it, save it to your watch list, and then drop it a like. That kind of helps it, bump up in the searches, so it gets a recommended or suggested film. So that's all we're looking for, guys. Camera X out now. We're also looking for, Lauren and I will do podcast interviews. You guys can get the actors, cast and crew of the film, whoever you want to interview, or of course, the writer director himself, Lauren Lepre, who will be joining us next Saturday, Sunday, right before President's Day. We got ourselves a holiday, Dead President's Day, as I call it, guys. we got to have the movie reference, right? Welcome back, Gazzy. 2026. We survived our winter break. So how you doing, brother?
Pretty well, man. Pretty well.
I know that hasn't exactly been cheery weather for you. Not quite like we're getting in SoCal over there. Shout out.
I'm used to it. I'd rather freeze to death than melt to death. So
for sure. Pixie is always helping us with the links. Our boy JY's the heister. Tim Star, he's a Braden heister. I'm a bopper. We got our boy Red Cloud. What up, G? And we're gonna get moving for you guys shortly. So anyway, yeah, Camera X, check it out free on Tubi. It's on other outlets as well. If you're like for the horror heads that are deep into POV horror and all those other apps. Man, let me think about this for a second. There's some pretty sick. Not the rollerblader guy, because me and Gaz would have windmill kicked that guy off his fruit boots. Maybe the Fury. Okay, so I was going to bring it up later, but since we brought up the Furies already, I've seen a meme, Gaz, which is like showing like that leader of the Fury guys and his uniform with the face paint in the back. Yeah. It's like, don't talk to me about baseball if you don't know what team this guy played for. Like, it's obviously the Furies and the Warrior. He's not on a baseball team, but just a funny Warriors meme. I don't know. I mean, I kind of like the Warriors, to be honest, because the warlord and the war chief are so sick. The riffs were pretty cool. Like I could
the riffs, for sure.
I could be the only white guy in the riffs and be like, "What the hell's this like Sicilian guy from Boston doing here?" I'm like Kurt Russell in South Park. I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I'm in the riffs.
I'm sure you see one or two of them though. When they were on the beach in the end, there's one or two. So I could have maybe made up the numbers to about 4 of us.
There we go. Okay, so me and Gaz, we could be in there. They're kind of the martial arts guys.
I
mean, the Rogues were actually pretty cool, despite Luther being obnoxious. So you know what I mean. I could fix things there. Ajax and Swan were dope. Let me think here. I mean, the Furies were cool. There were those guys that had the big metal truck. The
skinhead gang.
Tried to roll up on them. Yeah, those guys are pretty nuts. I mean, there's some cool gangs in this movie. Let's face it.
Yeah.
We'll move on, guys. I guess sounds like you're ready to talk the Warriors. So anyway, like I said, go check out Camera X on Tubi. It's free. Give us a like, give us a watch list, and all that jazz. And as so we said, Lauren Lepre joining us next Sunday, in-depth deep dive. Yeah, we're flipping it. They're flipping the day, guys. And then Gaz and I are going to do John Wick 2 on the 21st. John Wick Chapter 2. A lot of John Wick news, and so I meant to hit you about this, Gaz. Gaz and I are both getting like burnt out from spinoffs, but the problem with this one is like, what's his name? Kane? in John Wick 5, Donnie Yen. Gaz and I are such big Donnie Yen fanboys, so they are filming the Kane Solo film in Hong Kong right now. I mean, if it looks like all the other Hong Kong action movies, it's going to be very hard for Gaz and I to criticize that.
Exactly.
Donnie Yen's so good. As much as I want to say, like, don't make spin-offs, but I don't know. That one's very difficult to criticize. So John Wick 5 in development, Kane Solo film in development, John Wick animated series in development. So, oh yeah, no, for sure, dude. He was kind of low key winning that fight, even though it was 1-on-10. And then we're gonna round out with, I think this is kind of good relevance. Starting February with a gang film, ending February with a gang film, A Clockwork Orange. I'm a way bigger fanboy of it than Gaz is, but at least Gaz is our resident British correspondent, so we'll talk some Kubrick. Our boy
Furies definitely have that vibe though.
Malcolm McDowell. Oh, the Clockwork vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're going to talk about that too, because Warriors is based on actually a 60s novel, so I think it could have actually came out. It's obviously what Red Cloud listens to with this. I don't even think I've seen it. I know my arch nemesis Courtney Love cameos in it. That's all I know about the movie. Totally respect it though. Sid Vicious is the man. I mean, I'm sure it's an epic. We'll see about it. We'll see about it, Cloud. We're focusing on the PXF classics this season, guys. So we're going to give you like all of me and Gaz's like favorites. Who knows? We might even dig up Mac out of the legacy backlog and see if he can appear for Fear and Loathing. So yeah, I think you guys are going to like the new schedule. We'll be mentioning this. I mean, so Gaz and Mac and I have all roasted this for years. The only thing that made me question it, Gaz, was like Tony Scott was the one talking about that. Ridley Scott's brother, and Tony Scott was one of the best directors in Hollywood. So as much as I want to say, like, I don't think Warriors should be touched. I know you hate Remix Pixie. I don't know. I can't say that Tony Scott wouldn't have done a good job because he made Top Gun. He made Man on Fire. Like, he's a legend. So
I'll say this now. I mean, we were talking about this earlier and have done many times. I don't know what people think of this. The only way I think a remake could work, post-Air Pocket, and I'm going to sound like I'm venturing into kind of Judge Dredd territory here, but the gangs that are in a post-Apoc setting, but more where the technology is still maybe a bit lo-fi, that I would be down for. Current era, I don't think it'd work.
I think this is exactly what we said about like The Crow, like get it out of Eric Draven, get it out of Los Angeles, and then it sounded like that Rob Zombie thing would have been like a futuristic, which is ironic because both The Crow graphic novel and the original Warriors both kind of reference like punk culture, punk gang culture, as Gaz said. So I think there is some sort of parallel that Gaz on the anytime a remake comes up, Pixie is just like gonna melt down just like we are. So we get it.
Well, I have to inspire her earlier, man, to get a roast ready, upset her. So
100%. Yeah. So next up in our review, let's talk remake. We'll just say like Pixie's favorite segment. So the remakes, it's gonna. I know it never works, but it's gonna be awesome, Pixie. All right, let's do plot summary. Members of a street gang known as the Warriors must fight their way from the Bronx to their home turf on Coney Island when they are falsely accused of assassinating a respected gang leader. Can you dig it? We're not going to get enough mileage out of that tonight. We're just going to have to keep going back to it. First of all, it has one of the most epic posters ever, like all the gangs. I know that on what they call it, the conclave, that where Cyrus was speaking, that was supposed to be the Bronx Gaz, but it's actually filmed in Manhattan. Let's do genres: gangster, survival, action, crime, thriller. I think it kind of fits most of those molds. Slippy, can you dig it? Fonz was in a gang in Happy Days. The Falcons. Fonz is different, dude. Hey, Fonzarelli. And of course, the reason why me and Gaz are covering it, because we're right on the anniversary, baby. So I'm your host, Ross Warlord. Do you want to get into like the first couple scenes, Gaz? Or actually, here, let me just do the little wrap-up intro there, and then we'll do like our first scene, breakdown. Warriors, 1979 American action thriller film directed by Walter Hill from a screenplay by Hill and David Shaber, based on the 1965 novel of the same name by Sol Uric. In turn, inspired by Xenophon's Anabasis. I don't know what that is, but me and Gaz. It's the most famous work of ancient Greek professional soldier and writer Xenophon. Did you know this, Gaz? It gives an account. of the expedition of the 10,000, an army of Greek mercenaries hired by Cyrus the Younger to help him seize the throne of Persia from his brother. I wonder if that's where they pulled the Cyrus name. You think so, right?
I think so. Reference to it.
The film features an ensemble cast which includes Michael Beck, James Remar, Deborah Van Valkenburg, she's Mercy, Marcelino Sanchez, David Harris, Tom McKitterick, Brian Tyler, Dorsey Wright, Terry Michos, David Patrick Kelly, Roger Hill, Edward Sewer, and Lynn Thigpen. In the film, a street gang must escape from the Bronx back to their home turf on Coney Island after being framed for the murder of a respected gang leader. Development on The Warriors initially began in '69 after the film rights to Urick's novel was purchased by American International Pictures, but production stalled until producer Lawrence Gordon obtained rights and commissioned the Shaver and Hill to work on the screenplay. Originally envisioned as a Western, Gaz and I are going to cover that. The novel was ultimately adapted as a stylized action thriller. Casting was extensive and production was troubled, with Hill clashing with some of the actors and going over budget. Principal photography took place in '78 on location across New York City, including at Astoria Studios. The Warriors was theatrically released in the U.S. on Feb 9th, 1979. Happy Anniversary by Paramount Pictures. I mean, I got to say, I still do rock with Paramount over like most other big studios, guys. I'd say between like them and Warner Brothers, they probably have like the most bangers, you know, obviously like Lionsgate being probably a little smaller than them. It grossed 22.5 mil worldwide, received negative reviews from critics. Gaz will cover that for its lack of realism and dialogue. Like, yeah, okay, like, when you say lack of realistic dialogue, come on. Like, do you really want real life conversations in a movie? Because that's going to get pretty boring after the first 20 minutes, you know?
Okay, this is how I'm going to defend it already, because I've read a lot of those criticisms of it.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, there's the entertainment value, but this is often used in film to criticize negatives within the social structure, which they do, and they do it very subtly and powerfully on one particular scene on a subway train on the journey home, which we'll get to later. Now I've said that, if you've seen this film, folks, you'll know exactly what I'm referring to, and that's what this film also does very well, because it's to hook the audience in as well, and it's to keep them engrossed in the film, and it sets the tone right from the opening, Ross.
Hell yeah. Just responded to Red Cloud. I haven't seen Wanderers, but I want to check it out. What was I going to say about that? Okay, so here's my example, right? Machete, Grindhouse movie, not realistic in any fashion, right? Totally over the top Grindhouse movie. But what's the theme of Machete? Immigration, and that's like the number one issue in America right now. So you can go reference, and that came out way before any of the, I mean, these things were going on, but not as like turbulent as they are now. So you could say, sure, a Grindhouse action, you know, even comic book-esque movie, but like Rodriguez lives in Austin down in the border, and he's like a, you know, Latino director. So like we said, you could have a totally unrealistic, even comedic film, but it could still have a very serious point, you know? Mullet U2 hairstyle kicked off at 85, Dido, Billy Ray Cyrus in the 90s. Okay, yeah, there's some wild haircuts in this film.
Yeah. Amount of bands that have come back doing that kind of style, though. There's those kind of carpets on the necks have kind of resurfaced.
Initial screenings of the film were linked to vandalism and murders, prompting Paramount to halt advertising or releases theaters from their obligation to screen the film. The Warriors has been reappraised by critics, considered a cult film. It has since launched a franchise which spawned several spin-offs, including video games and comic book series. I did take a look at the that last beat 'em up that Paramount Digital released. It had a very like close likeness to the characters, and they were fighting in the graveyard. They basically like took some scenes right out of the movie. It didn't look like the best engine because it was just kind of, it was like 4-player, and it was just kind of like a bunch of like you know, 3D beat 'em up. It's kind of like cluttered. But as far as like the look of the characters and the background, you know, it did look like you were playing right out of the movie.
Yeah, cool. the PS2 game was good.
I heard that was good.
Warriors.
Yeah, I think Mac
good.
And Gaz have both told me that that was fresh. So I'll do this little one here, this little paragraph here, Gaz. Then we can break this down. Whoops, where did I go? Number one most pro show on YouTube, guys. Cyrus, the charismatic leader of the Gramercy Riffs, the most powerful gang in New York, requests that 100 of the city's gangs each send 9 unarmed delegates to Van Cortlandt Park for a midnight summit. The Warriors, a gang from Coney Island, send a delegation consisting of warlord leader Cleon, War Chief, Second in Command Swan, Enforcer Ajax, Scout Fox, Graffiti Artist Rembrandt, and Music Man Snow, Bearer Vermin, and Soldiers Cowboy. And how do you say this guy? Is it Cochise? Cochise? I didn't quite catch that dude's name, guys, but whatever. I never know how to pronounce that word. Something like that. Cyrus proposes a citywide truce and alliance to the assembled crowd, allowing the gangs to control the city since they're collectively outnumber the police by 3-1. I mean, I just think the way they set it up with all the gangs coming onto the trains and going out there to the Bronx and just like, you know, obviously the charisma of Cyrus, how he kind of, you know, carries the whole crowd is just like, it has a really strong opening scene, you know?
So do you see a parallel with the War Chief guy in Mad Max 2, where he's talking to all the warriors gathered there? Gangs, I know not the same kind of numbers, but it's definitely got, it's definitely got that feel, hasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And like, you know, that's what I was saying before, is like me and guys were saying, like, it seems like a lot of parallels to Escape from New York too. So you have that grindhouse, like, you know, Mad Max. Yeah, exactly. We'll be covering this too. Actually, you know, there's a cool video on YouTube you guys should check out where this dude broke down like the symbolism of each gang, and there actually is a lot of great symbolism in them. You know, the Greek warrior ethos, mythos that it starts with. You know, there's I think there's a lot more of a mythos and philosophy here than people give credit to, as Gaz was saying. You know, and then a lot of other minutia and a lot of other these scenes that break down. The other thing that's interesting is how much this changed while they were shooting it, because the director literally rewrote stuff in a weekend, and the way, you know, a lot of scenes, the way it was supposed to go, they kind of like evolved as like, hey, you know, Beck has this chemistry with Mercy, you know, so they doubled down on that, and then they changed all this other stuff that was supposed to happen in the second and third act. Yeah, the way they were shooting at night was interesting, and obviously they had a lot of problems with that too. But anything else on just kind of like that beginning intro scene with Cyrus, Ghazi, and any of that stuff?
I know. I just think it's an epic delivery from Cyrus. The lead was played by Roger Hill. I think it was. Yeah, Roger Hill.
Absolutely.
Oh, it just like how it was based. It took that ancient Greek story. You can see that with the leader there gathered, speaking to all the warriors of different tribes, trying to unite everybody in a common cause. Just a little bit before that, when the warriors, I think, first get off one of the subway trains or on the way. That's great as well. Just sets that dynamic already. I think you even see a bit of that early conflict between James Remar and Michael Swan. You know, James Remar's the enforcer.
Ajax.
Ajax much more wants to, you know, he keeps referring to everyone as wimps all the time throughout the film and wants to fight everybody. So that was interesting. There's something about it, even the opening credits, Ross, where you just see that kind of graffiti-esque for the title. It just grabs you straight away. So I would say to people, watch this movie late at night as well. Watch this movie late at night, all quiet. If you've never seen it, don't listen to anything anybody says. Just watch it for yourself, make your own mind up. It is a classic.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. A couple things, guys. You know, I'd essentially equate this to a New York grindhouse movie, like an Escape from New York or a Death Wish 1. Those are the only things I think really have that old New York feel. Non-woke dialogue, guys. Extensive use of the other F word. What are you going F word? And so, hey guys, it was 79. That's how it was. We'll call that the lexicon of the time. I think this was it, Pixie. Thank you. I just watched this before I went live. It was awesome. You guys should check this out. So an idea that I had, I know me and Gaz always kind of like do this of like what else we could see. So I watched the 2005 Ultimate Director's Cut, which has the comic book panel transfers that he originally wanted to use, but he didn't have the budget. He also wanted Orson Welles to read that Greek, Persia history intro dialogue. Of course, the studio didn't want to pay for that. An idea I had, and I know this is kind of going off on an offshoot, the historical route that Gaz and I often take. We talked about this with the Crow graphic novel that had those ancient Greek references. Gaz, they come up a lot, but was a bit how, like, we'll be covering this later in our PXF Classic schedule, The Protector. I don't know how many of you guys have seen that from Tony Jaa. It's the movie that Tarantino presented when Tony Jaa sort of came to the Western market after Ong Bak. It starts out with him his 12 strike fighting style, and it shows like these animations of the ancient Thai warriors fighting using that style, and then he adapts it into his martial arts style. What I was thinking is, the Spartans used to fight back to back when outnumbered. What they should have did is even 2 or 3 minutes, like almost like Conan or something, just show 2 minutes of that ancient Greek battle of the Greeks fighting the Spartans, and then when you go back to the New York street fights, you can kind of incorporate them using a little bit of that. I think that would have been a dope way. I think that's kind of what he was leaning into, guys. But obviously, budget, right? You can't do everything with a New York.
You could say as well. I'm going to delight in upsetting people here. I'm take one of the, not for film. I'm just going to say the fashion and the music, not the hard rock from that era and the foundations, the beginnings of heavy metal. So not those genres. I repeat, but all the rest of that pop and hippie and disco garbage. It's literally one of the worst eras ever fashion. I personally think you've got the 50s and 60s, just skip the 70s. Not on about the films. So in a way, Ross, it's like, how can we use the questionable hair, fashion sense, keep the budget minimum easy? So it's an excellent lesson in that regard. Jimmy's probably want to kill me now, but anyway.
100%.
Oh God, Kiss! I hate that band.
They did have their faces painted like Kiss.
Oh you're right.
Yeah. Most of the gang members applaud this idea, but Luther, the unbalanced and sadistic leader of the rogues, shoots Cyrus dead as the NYPD arrive to raid the summit. In the chaos, Luther realizes that Fox witnessed his actions. After failing to shoot him, he falsely accuses the warriors of responsibility. Cleon denies the assassination. However, he is viciously attacked by the vengeful Riffs, leaving the fate unknown. I want to talk about Cleon's fighting style and the other war chief fighting style, dude. Gaz, a lot of that similar of that Afro dude in Enter the Dragon. They have that kind of like kung fu style with the kung fu kicks. Like, I'm obviously Gaz noticed this. He's a martial artist, but so I want to say, I mean, the audience will probably get on us because me and Gaz bring it on nonstop, but a little bit of martial arts fighting style in the Warriors, about three or four of the dudes, they throw the kicks and they have the hand movements, you know what I mean? So it again, and this is coming off the 70s, Enter the Dragon martial arts era, Bruce Lee, it was huge in the
Jim Kelly, and the Dragon, there's that element with his dojo that you see at the beginning. You could argue they kind of took that vibe for what's the Shogun of Shonoff, wasn't it? The Shogun of Harlem.
I was going to say that Last Dragon. And
then when they're in the movie theater as well, and you've got the gang coming in there, and you've got the conflict, and that breaks out in a fight. So man, that's excellent call.
It seems like a Warriors ref. The Last Dragon, dude. I don't even know, guys, but the Bruce Leroy is the main character.
Yeah.
In that movie, like I heard that actor dude say he's coming back for like some sequel. Anyway, I don't know.
Really?
Me and Gaz, I just saw headlines. I haven't verified it. Me and Gaz will talk about some film news before we get out of here, though, with some new things that we've heard. So where was he? So this was talked about in the chat. Cleon denies the assassination. However, he's viciously attacked by the vengeful Riffs, leaving his fate unknown, which I think is pretty sick to have the gang leader's fate unknown in the movie. That's like definitely uncommon for the time. Meanwhile, the other warriors escape to Woodland Lawn Cemetery, unaware that they've been implicated in Cyrus's killing. Masai, Cyrus's second in command in the Rifts, puts out a dead or alive bounty on the warriors through a radio DJ. To Ajax's disappointment, Swan takes charge of the group as they try to get home. Ajax, just being a scumbag, is it's established fairly early on. But I like that Gaz was talking about this conflict, the internal conflict between Ajax and Swan, which definitely sets off to show that not everybody's just going with the program without.
And it shows you the difference in the mindset, because Jack Swan. Okay, so if we want to draw on that ancient Greek inspiration behind it, he's more the strategist. His patience often tells him various times, like, be patient, wait a minute. Particularly when you first see the skinhead gang, Ross, coming down the road. He's saying, right, wait back. I think someone saying, no, there's no one on the road. We can go out there. No, just wait a minute. And of course, then you see them. Whereas Ajax, aka James Remar, it's pretty much just wanting to fight everybody all the time. And if you've never seen this film, you'll think, right, this guy's going to get into trouble sooner or later because he's too much of a hothead. And of course, I'll just say things with the wrong part of his body later on, and that's how he gets caught.
How is that going to work out? You lost your leader. There's only 8 of you. You saw at the early meeting how big some of the gang, like the Rifts have like 100 guys in them.
Yeah.
So 8 of you are going to fight every gang on the way from the Bronx back to freaking Coney Island. Even when you run into the Furies, they all have baseball bats. Everybody has various weapons, and they have they weren't packing when they went to the gang meeting. So somebody's going to get you. That's the thing. What Ajax doesn't make sense. If you had another 10 guys, maybe like even the orphan. Oh yeah, okay. Well, you like the controversial stuff, Cloud. You really want to get
seen that
movie, don't you?
many times
American
as well.
History X is so sick. The Edward Norton performance, but yeah, dude, he really wants us to get banned.
We actually did do it, Red Cloud, many years ago, just not on here on YouTube. Me, Ross and Mark did it on our old show. Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh yeah, no, we covered this, Jay. Yeah, maybe you're all turning. Maybe you're going F word. They love that one. It's Grindhouse dialogue, folks. It's anti-woke 79 film.
But as well, when you think about it, it keeps it authentic, because even now, going any urban environment, rough neighborhood, whatever, people aren't going to be too conscientious on the way they talk. It's just not going to happen. So it wouldn't come across as realistic if someone said, "Oh, excuse me, sir, how rude of it was me for that." It wouldn't work.
So they said it's not realistic dialogue, but the gangs are facing off. They're talking crap to each other, like, you know what I mean? All right. So to Ajax's point, Swan takes charge of the group as they try to get home. The Turnbull ACs spot the Warriors and try to run them down with a modified school bus. That thing was just sick, man. That was very
it was,
as Gaz said.
But
they escape and board the MTA New York City subway. On the ride to Coney Island, the train is stopped by a building, fire alongside the tracks, standing the Warriors in Tremont. Setting out on foot, they encounter the orphans, who are insecure about their lowly status as they were excluded from Cyrus's meeting, and what they represent is abandonment. The gang being orphans, being abandoned by the gang culture. After Mercy, the girlfriend of the orphans' leader, instigates a confrontation, Swan throws a Molotov cocktail, and the Warriors run to the nearest subway station. Impressed and desperate to escape her depressing neighborhood, Mercy follows the Warriors. Everything up to that point is pretty great. I've never really understood why Mercy joined the Warriors, because she's just like impressed by their bravery. Like, it's like a little bit of a stretch, but if there's one thing that's a stretch, it's that. It doesn't really affect anything that happens after that point,
Yeah, I guess it is. There's obviously chemistry with Swan.
100%.
Maybe, I don't know, just wanted to escape maybe that monotone existence where she was. Respect the Warriors, a bit of excitement here. Obviously, he's attracted to Swan, wants to become his girl. And obviously definitely makes that decision. And as we see, they're pretty much together by the end of the film as well.
Interesting dynamic though, because Swan like laces into her for being a lady of the night, and
he does, and then comes out, he pretty much, he doesn't charm her, does he? Yeah.
Very Grindhouse.
Well, he doesn't hold back in his commentary at all.
Yeah, I'm not ripping on her performance. She's a good actor. Actually, I like the character. And like they said, their dynamic does work, but it's just like, you're going to join this violent street gang and run across the city, and you guys have no weapons. Okay, but whatever. Suspend ejecting your brain for the popcorn movie, like we said. Just enjoy the ride. It's just a sick adrenaline rush. Ajax worked at the car wash. Yeah, you got to wonder about these guys' day jobs. They're definitely anarchists.
Yeah.
What were you saying, guys?
No, man, that one had finished.
Carry on. Okay. When the group arrives at the 96th Street and Broadway Station, Manhattan, they are pursued by police and separated. Vermin, Cochise, and Rembrandt escape by boarding a subway car. Fox, struggling with a police officer, is thrown onto the tracks and killed by a passing train as Mercy flees the scene. That scene is crazy, guys. The baseball Furies chase Swan, Ajax, Snow, and Cowboy in the Riverside Park, but they are defeated in a brawl. After the fight, Ajax sees a lone woman sitting on the park bench and leaves the group despite Swan's objections. When Ajax becomes S-wordly aggressive, the woman reveals herself as an undercover police officer and arrests him in the help of the uniformed officers. It's just doubling down on Ajax being a creep. Like, how stupid are you that you see a lone woman in the park at night by herself and you don't know that that's a like, obviously they had set those traps up at during that time. I haven't heard of this slip, but it sounds dope.
But the fight scene. I mean, I've seen some criticisms now. Stupid, all right, you know, looks dated or whatever, but
Yeah.
I think it's pretty well done for its time.
Same.
I do like the way they're using their elbows, Ross.
Yep.
Even this
Muay
kind of
Thai.
makeshift when they get the baseball bats, we're gonna adapt this and try and use it best I can. So again, getting back to if you are aware of the the ancient Greek stories, you would think it's mercenaries trying to get back to Asia Minor. So you're going to come across various weapons, whatever you can use, because your supplies are going to be limited. You are going to use whatever you can, whatever the best you can, like guerrilla warfare, skirmishing, whatever. You know, you're on the run. You're going to.
Yep.
So I like that. I like the film. I think isn't there a face off with Swan and the leader of the Furies who has his pin.
Yeah, he starts, at the bag.
That was cool. I liked that. That was very well done. Yeah. And then you knew when that girl is sat on the bench panel, you knew, yeah, she's a cop. What is she saying? It's used to show the hot-headedness, the quick to fight mentality from Ajax. And you're always going to get one guy like that in that kind of unit, right? Head on. And you've got the more strategist, the guy who can keep his emotions in check a bit better, which is Swan, 100%. Trying to hold him back to say, think of that. And so, yeah, that's used, as you said, to rightly show that. And it's linked very well.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's a good fight. I wouldn't say. I think like the best fights are probably the bathroom brawl with the punks.
Yeah, that was good.
That one's really sick. I mean, there's a few really good fights. I mean, just we'll talk about like the New York subway for a second, dude. The back in '79 when everything was all the cars were all tagged up, all the graffiti. I mean, a lot of that stuff. It's just this movie kind of preserved that era in time because those carts will be gone. The old turnstiles, dude, like Gaz back in the day. Boston used to have those. When my boys showed me how to like put it in the middle section so you can put one leg through, like, dude, like I'm sorry guys, college days, the early 2000s, everybody was doing that. Obviously all that stuff became like electronic now, so you can't just walk, cut right through it anymore or hop over it,
I've got a ticket. I should have got it out. I've got one of the tickets from the Chicago subway as well, where you put it in the should have got that for the show.
Yeah, bro. So like, I'll tell you right now, when I first got to Boston in 2004 for one fare, it was like $125 US, like 5 quarters.
Yeah.
Dude, by like 2007, it had already skyrocketed to like $250. I don't even know what it is now. It's probably like $350. I'm talking about just one way. You know what I mean? So just like the inflation is like, and obviously I'm sure New York's way worse because our subway was way smaller than New York. So just crazy business.
It's very for that reason. It's a good kind of historical commentary on that era, which 100%. Is carried later into the early 80s. With the tagging as well. That was obviously started back then. Yep. You could even argue the gangs, which even in the Police Academy series, the comedy movies, has that with the punk guy who ends up becoming one of the cops. Is it Zed or whatever he's called? So yeah, definitely, man. And you think of how just everything just keeps rocking up price-wise since then. Well, I got that ticket. Like I say, I'm sure the prices now, even in Chicago, will be much higher. So,
astronomical. Chicago has another 1 million people more than Boston does. There's like 2 million people in Chicago. We have a protest from Pixie on a sequel. She's not feeling it. They want Gaz to do the Luther thing, the Luther taunt.
My voice is probably too deep for it, but I'll try.
Yeah, apparently I was telling Gaz off air, he does have some sort of soprano singing background, so I think that's how he came up with that note there. Oh man, I don't remember is that John Wick 1? I don't remember.
Oh wow,
yeah,
wow, nice call.
Slipknot shouted him out earlier. What's his name? David. What did you call him, Slippy?
Do you think I'm stretching here, Ross, if I say even the jackets that the Warriors have are an ode to the ancient kind of Greek uniforms in a way, kind of material? Or do you think I'm reaching a bit there?
That kind of tan leather, right? Even the Romans had brown and red. Yeah, so I got to assume where they started with the Greek mythos, that's a reference for him. Like clearly this writer dude knew his history. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. I was gonna say, Gaz, the summer's great to wear your leather cut, but hopefully they're throwing on a hoodie in the winter with the cut over it, because
Yeah.
you ain't gonna be able to wear. That works great for New York summer. New York winter is another.
Yeah, I thought that it wouldn't last long.
Okay, where did we leave off? The cop setting up Ajax. Upon arriving at Union Square Station, Vermin, Cochise, and Rembrandt are seduced by an all-female gang called the Lizzies and invited to their hangout. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about this fight too, guys. They narrowly escape the Lizzies' subsequent attack, learning in the process the gangland community and the police believe that the warriors murdered Cyrus. As a lone scout, Swan returns to the 96 station, where Mercy joins him, although he spurns her advances. After reaching the Union Square Station, by walking along the tracks, they reunite with the remaining warriors and fight with the overalls wearing roller skate gang, the Punks, which allows Mercy to prove herself in combat. Meanwhile, an unidentified gang member visits the Rifts and tells them that he saw Luther shoot Cyrus. Okay, this Lizzie's fight, I mean, it's okay, it's predictable, right? Let's just say what it is. But going back to anti-woke grindhouse culture, Gaz, breaking a bench on a lady's head, punching women that are stabbing and shooting at you.
Yeah, it's not quite.
We'll say that away with it nowadays.
Yeah, I said that. I mean, Invasion USA, the start of that, that guy goes in the hotel and what he does to that woman. I mean, that goes knocking it up even further. Well, yeah, you're right. It's I mean, one way, as soon as you heard the questionable music, that would have been enough for me. I thought, yeah, there's something.
Oh yeah, I mean, guys would have walked out the door.
You walked out with that.
You can have any girl you want. No, thank you. We're gonna keep going to the next building, find another party.
Yeah. But I mean, it was obvious before it happened, but interesting to see.
Out, though.
Yeah, I do. And again, interesting to see an all-female gang, another take on that, which is pretty cool. Something that was done in other things that followed. I'm going to go super nerdy. In the Warhammer 40,000 game, Necromunda, which is all about gangs fighting for control of hive cities. There's an all-female gang in that, and GW are known for pillaging pretty much everything. So that's got to go back to the Warriors. It's got to.
Yeah, I mean, Gaz and I will come to it on the wiki, but there's so many pop culture references. It's literally insane. But I like the way it all turns out. Obviously, Ajax as well as the other three, they both get set up. What I like about the Lizzies is they're still on par with the gang war. Just because it's a female gang, they're still packed. They still pop off, and it puts the women on the same playing field, right? As in other like action movies where it's like the women are going to sit in the background and be a dialogue character. Like it puts them on the front line, and that's kind of what I like. It's like actually we'll even talk more because Swan is supposed to get kidnapped by a homosexual gang, the Dingoes, but they did away with that scene. It didn't go down, and they doubled down on him being with Mercy. So it's kind of funny because all the main characters, like obviously like Cleon and the war chief, they're all supposed to be like representative of like Black and Puerto Ricans. This is what's hilarious. The studio didn't want that, right? Because they didn't think they could sell Blacks and Puerto Ricans in leading roles. I mean, you're talking about New York City for one, so that's just stupid. And then the script has a homosexual gang in it, so it's always funny what they pick and choose. Like, hey, I don't think we can have a leading Black and Puerto Ricans, but we can put a gay gang in it. Like, where do we draw the line here? You know what I mean? It just shows that the studio has no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, and they notable large gay community in New York as well. I mean, it's
100% the Village. So so it's like it's a little interesting what the studio thinks will work, and then you can see clearly. Thank you, Benji. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, Benji.
Let us know. Welcome to the channel. Let us know any recommendations of films. We primarily do action, martial arts, grindhouse stuff, but we, Gaz and I are both big sci-fi guys. Do a little bit of the ancient worlds, war, ancient epics. So we try to get a little good variety for you guys. Where are we? So that was the Lizzie's fight, Swan at the station, and then, so I definitely want to break down the role. What are these guys called? The Punks fight. I think this is the best fight in the movie. The dude who did the fight choreography is in this fight. So there's just a lot of cool things. I love the aesthetic of locking the bathroom door and then them pulling up to the stalls and the Warriors popping out of the stalls. I mean, that's just
very
iconic. I think one of the Punks gets sent into the mirror. One of the Warriors gets sent into the mirror. A couple mirror breaks. What's his name? I think it's the War Chief dude. He comes with the kung fu kicks and a bit of that Jim Kelly style from Enter the Dragon. So I'm sure you saw all the same notes that I saw, guys. But still some martial arts in the fight scenes, we got to say.
Exactly, and it's good. It's good how they shot it as well from that style. Then where they kind of really showed you people. Well, I was going to say some films took it to the extreme where they did go incredible slow mo of someone like taking 20 minutes just to fly through the air, like
and the triple replays. Like Bloodsport.
And OG Kickboxer as well.
Hell yeah. we need that, we got to get that on the list. That's Kickboxer's one we haven't hit yet. So we'll be definitely bringing more of the kung fu action.
But that was good because it showed you Swan being stalked, and he has that exchange with Mercy, which is right. You know, he says to her famously, right, they're aware now that I know that they're following me. And I mean, I think although this fight was epic, Ross, I think they probably were my least favorite gang out of all of them.
Yeah, same.
They were
cornballs, but the fight was awesome. So
the fight was awesome.
You're willing to suspend it because, like, at least they had a really good fight, you know. And again, the gangs are essentially interchangeable at this point since they fight about 10 of them. So it's like, you know, they could have had that fight with any gang.
What was the name of the gang we see very early at the beginning where there's the meet where they've got like the hats and the ties and shirts on? You only see them very briefly.
Oh, I think those dudes were from Harlem because the way that they were, I don't know what the name of their gang was. It might be in that gang video Pixie posted. I'm almost positive those were or Cyrus might have listed them because he said everyone's name. In the beginning,
it's only very brief.
Almost positive those were the Harlem dudes, just because like Harlem's known for like snappy dressers, you know.
I think what's good about this fight as well, Ross, again, it shows you how Swan's mind's working out. He's more of the thinker, the strategist again, paralleling to the ancient Greek story behind it. Draw them into the bathroom, and then they come out with a counter attack. Really, really good.
Ambush the ambushers. Yeah, and I think that Gaz is very keen on that. You know, the Greek tactics of the ancient world. You know what I mean?
And I read some criticisms that people didn't like with the version that we watched, the interjection of the comic panels, but I did. I thought it worked well and kind of helped. It helped bring the story more to life in a way.
Apparently comics are a part of the book, and this is another one like Gaz and I have finally picked up Heat 2, so we're going to be reviewing that for you guys. Heat 2 film news. But this is another one where Gaz and I are both big Warriors fans, obviously, that I would have to go back and read that reference to get, because again, I don't understand how they were going to adapt it to a Western. Like, it probably would have worked a la Tombstone, but this is such rooted in 70s, 80s New York gang culture that I can't see the content being out. Now, apparently there's this big backdrop of the book. We haven't talked the score. The music of the Warriors is awesome. But in the book, there's this big Beatles reference with the gangs listening to the Beatles. And that really reminded me only of Clockwork Orange with Alex listening.
Mozart.
The classical music.
There's one
You're not talking about the freaking, what's his name? Our Irish lad.
Colin Farrell. Does have an epic battle scene. The battle scene is epic in that. I mean, that's about the only good thing in that entire movie, though.
Alexander the Great is the man. My favorite depiction of that is Reign the Conqueror by Peter Chung. I don't know if you've seen that, the artist who did Eon Flux, Gaz, but I got to send you that, the animation. You would like it a lot because it's very alternative history, we'll just say.
Nice.
So it's like Alex and going through the ancient world, but he also fights like otherworldly factions such as reptilians and such. But it's like a mid-90s thing, you know.
Do have to as well, now you mentioned music, bring up the radio host on the Warriors who's doing who's commentating and who's playing songs literally, you know, like we see earlier, On the Run, and it's done in all this way. Do you imagine for that time, right? We're not going to get into trouble from the authorities, so I'll do this in a kind of subtle, polite way of inferring, hey, the Warriors are loose in our territory. Everybody go get them. They're on the run. Well, that was awesome.
You know what that reminds me of? And I gotta think that Chad Stileski of John Wick referenced that with the switchboard when they put out the hits on John Wick and other bounty hunters and the phone lines, because you'd think the obvious, I don't know what they did in the Continental, which is that 70s John Wick prequel. Maybe they used some of that, but you'd think the DJ putting out the single on the radio would be although I guess less so important in the internet age. All right, listen, Pixie, your band from the chat. If you ever say you hate the Patriots again, carrying on, folks.
Well, it's all right, Pixie. I used to call the Patriots the Cheatriots. I support Boston Celtics, but the Patriots the Cheatriots. There was I remember there was, I can't remember which MC it was, Ross, but in the 2000s there was somebody dropped an EP, and they had Brady on the cover of it, and it said the Cheatriots or something.
Did you
always
see
made me giggle.
South Park when they switched his medicine and Brady got the S-slaps and he was going to throw the football and it filled up his tights with, we'll say something that made him say hot, 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 hot. So where are we at? Lizzie's fight, and then the dude told him that it was Luther who shot Cyrus. A couple things. So Cyrus just being the most obnoxious dude. Obviously, we talked about him in Tintin and T-Bird and the Crow, and then obviously he's the creep in Commando. First of all, Gaz referenced this like he doesn't want to see the new school cell phones. Dude, that rotary dial payphone that Luther called, those rotary dial phones were crazy. And also that girl at the stand when they were just like stealing that gum and the rogues were just like stealing those products and handing them out to the crew. And then Luther punked that other guy that's like his number two. And she's like, hey, aren't you guys going to pay for that? When Luther screams at her, for what? Pay for what? That dude's overacting yelling voice is like the most comedic, awesome.
Yeah, that's why I'll just say when we get to that end scene, it's just so memorable. He kind of reminds. I tell you, Luther reminds me of a bit, and he was. Look, the actor is sick. There's no doubt about it. But is his character like a big whiny? I can't say the word on YouTube. Yes, especially with his cry out on the beach at the end. Spoiler alert. But you know who reminds me of, man? The villain from OG Dirty Harry. That kid. That same kind of whiny-ish. Tone annoying. No bad in the actor. I think the actor's awesome. He's playing the character, so I'm not having to go at the actor.
Yeah, it was intentional. Yeah, for sure. Well, obviously, you know that Scorpio villain from Dirty Harry is based on Zodiac. So for the Zodiac heads tuning in, but if you want to see the most, whiny bitch rendition of Zodiac, make sure you watch Dirty Harry 1 because the movie is just awesome. Dude, Jay, you always come through with the plot holes, dude. That is hilarious. Although New York City, though, I mean, if it was during the Fear City campaign, maybe, but I mean, it's the city that never sleeps, right? So I don't know why the magazine stand is open. Maybe it's the same magazine stand where what's his name, Roddy Piper from They Live was reading the magazine. That was in LA. Okay, so. At the dawn, the Warriors finally reach Coney Island, only to find Luther and the Rogues waiting for them. So Gaz pointed out the metal hearse, and you said that's the same.
Skip from New York.
Was the Duke using that? From New York. So little sick parallel there.
Dude, I love that cowl, the graffiti on it, the way it's just slowly following them, the build up, the atmosphere, and that. And then this is what I want to ask people. Now, does Luther say Warriors come out to play, or is it come out and play? There's always this debate over it.
It sounded to me, I should have looked closer, but it sounded like come out and play, but I'm not sure.
But that man, that's seen the way it's set up.
Yeah, we'll break that down. So we're getting to the part Gaz was talking about. So the way Luther, the actor David, wanted to do that was he wanted to take 2 dead pigeons, but the director didn't think it would work. So this is actually sick. So another thing I like about the Warriors and these type of kind of low budget for the time grindhouse movies is the director basically told him, hey, you're going to taunt the Warriors when they run in there. You come up with the thing, and like I'll check in with you in a few minutes. So David goes under the boardwalk, finds 3 bottles, and comes back, and then he's like, hey, did you come up with it? And he clanks them together. And he like does the voice like Gaz said, and then Hill was like, yeah, go with that, let's roll. And then he just as soon as he had the idea, then they just shot it, which is like, I feel like that kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore because these new big studio, big budget Hollywood films are so overproduced that, as Gaz was saying, they're no longer giving actors those little improv moments that you have with 70s and 80s and 90s movies where an actor just had a sick idea in the moment, performed it, and then they just shot it on location right then and there. I feel like we're losing those moments. I mean, they still happen with like legendary actors like DiCaprio's and such, and something like The Revenant, but like I feel like that's something that's starting to go for. Even Pacino in Heat was doing a lot of things like that. So
yeah.
Wow, okay, that's dope. I didn't know that, but so he clings the thing, and then he supposedly has I'll bring it back for Gaz. He supposedly has some sort of singing background. I saw on something I read, so that's how he was able to hit that note. But of course, the Ooh La La and Commando, and dude, just and then obviously this scream that he's gonna let out, which I'm gonna let Gaz cover. We get to this next sequence.
I'll try not to recreate that.
Gaz's favorite part in the film, as we it's a bit like the Howard Dean when he freaking tanked his campaign in whatever year that was. So Swan challenges Luther to single combat, but Luther pulls a gun instead. Swan dodges his shot, and first of all, let's talk about when Swan does the hype up with the Warriors. He's like, "Hey, everybody, we're gonna pop on him. You guys packing?" And he's like, "Yeah." He pulls out a switchblade, pops it, and then sticks it in his back belt loop. When he did that, like, that's the kind of thing I was like, yeah, that's the kind of thing I would do with Gaz, and I would like forget that it's there, and then I would go like sit down to eat, and it would like poke. Like, no, Ross, don't sit down. Like that's like he's totally cool with just sticking that thing in the back belt loop and then pulling up on him. Yeah, for sure. Patrick David Kelly, he's him.
Yeah,
I love that guy. I like his T-Bird and the Crow. I think that's my favorite character from.
Yeah. It's as you were saying, the way it's set up. Swan and the Warriors stood just in the shade there, watching the car, hearing Luther taunt him, as you said, with the bottles, with Warriors come out to play. And then the standoff on the beach and the exchange between Swan and Luther as well. And Swan asks him, "Look, why did you do it? Why did you shoot Cyrus?" And Luther's just, "I just like to do these things." Something like that.
It's very like Joker from Dark Knight. Like, I'm an agent of the established order, and everything becomes chaos. I'm an agent of chaos. Luther has that very age, like the rogues are just like, I like causing chaos. Instead of uniting all the gangs in New York when they'd be 3-1 versus the police, they could totally squeeze the mafia, every other, whatever you want to call that, enclave. And then he shoots him for no reason, and then makes everybody against each other.
Yeah, it's just for that
sense, but it's an awesome theme. So,
then as we see Luther.
Let me lead you into it. Swan challenged Luther to single combat, but Luther pulls a gun instead. Swan dodges his shot and throws a switchblade into Luther's arm, disarming him. First of all, just that alone is like the awesomest thing ever. Dodging a revolver shot and then taking out the switchblade and throwing it in some guy's arm. That's like practically a Kane from John.
It's very Clint, isn't it? It's a very Clint move as well.
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
Recovering. But bro, the way Luther, oh god, the way he lets out that scream is the Best. I can't say the word because it's YouTube, but I'll say it's the most think of it.
Little B word.
In front of the itch, yeah. It's the most itch move ever in some history. We're like,
that scream is the most iconic death. Well, it's not. We'll just call it a death because you know what the Riffs did to him. They obviously beat the bag out of him because they've been trying to kill him all movie.
Dude, and then he's saying the Riffs as well, isn't it? When he's going, no.
It wasn't me. It was them. It was the Warriors. And he's still trying to go with the lie, and everyone's just walking away like, yeah, whatever, dude. They're just like dragging him away to beat the bag out of him. Like it's even better that they didn't show because you know that the Riffs just stomped him out something crazy.
So. But bro, so after that happens, and then we see the Riffs arrive on the beach and the legion of them. I think I like the Riffs. What the Riffs appeal to me is like, if you think the Warriors are like the elite mercenary unit, and that's backed up further when the leader of the Riffs says to Swan, "You Warriors are good, real good."
Oh yeah.
Swan says the best, and the best, and it kind of had me thinking, Ross, like the Warriors were this elite mercenary unit from Greece.
Oh yeah.
from that ancient Greek story, and the Rifts kind of come across as like the organized military empire, because they were quite militaristic, very disciplined, very organized. They came across as the more
classes in the military.
They came across as like the most pro and organized and lethal out of the gangs to me. And I was just, I think I liked that because again they've got that martial arts style, and that's I guess why. I think I said to Jay earlier, when he was joking, being the orphans. Yeah, if I got out of the orphans, bribe my way into the Rifts.
100%. And one other quote that we forgot, the other guy who was also awesome, the leader of the orphans, when Mercy turned them against each other.
Yeah, he was pretty good actually.
They pulled out the barber's blades, and he's like, "You see what you get when you mess with the orphans and warriors. You see what you get." Another one of those classic lines that you just only get. See what Jay came with. Wasn't it 12 guys, no weapons? So the warriors should have had more guys waiting at home. The gang should have had more than 20 guys in order to protect the turf. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if the whole gang leaves Coney Island, who's back home to protect it?
Did you like it as well, Ross, when the Rifts widened and separated into like a line to show respect, the warriors, and then the warriors walked through, and then they closed around Luther, and then it cost us, and Luther, no. That was powerful, man.
I just I'm trying to remember. You know what? I did go to that Coney Island before with my boy. That was probably I think I've told you about him before, Gaz, but my friend's dad wrote the books of City by the Sea and Copland.
Yeah.
So I was out in New York with him, and we pulled up there because Coney Island is a very it's like a Russian area. You know what I mean? So it's like a bit like we won't say it, but if you know what that means. A Russian area in New York. And so I know Lauren said he's been to that Wonder Wheel there, basically the boardwalk. I think most of it's still there. So shout out to Lauren Lepre. Dude,
nice.
That dude is so on when it comes to like the old school movie, like East Coast sets, like Jersey, New York, Philly area. He's our tri-state, correspondent. So like go through his Instagram, follow him, Average Superstar Films, guys, and you'll see that dude pulling up at like the horror sets. He's been to the Crystal Lake and all that. He's a horror guy, but he's definitely been out there to the Wonder Wheel. He was telling me, which is sick. I mean, I just love. It's a great. I almost wonder if that's the same boardwalk where Copland ends, because I think there used to be like an old fun house or mirror house there, and then I think there's a couple other movies that shoot in there. I know Copland did, or at the end. And I think there might be another horror movie or another movie I'm thinking of like that, where there's like a couple, I don't know if they tore all that stuff down or if that boardwalk is still there. So this got changed a lot, Jay, because originally she was supposed to end up with Fox, but because that actor and his manager were giving Hill such a hard time and he almost reported them for acting conditions, he wanted him dead and written out of the script completely.
That's why I went into the train.
Into the train. Yeah. So Mercy ends up with Swan. Is Sudden Impact? Sudden Impact is the Jean-Claude Van Damme at the
one with Powers Booth as well.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Powers Booth is the man. I'll never remember it on air. Sorry, guys, but it will come back to me in like 10 hours, and then we'll cover it in like 5 shows. The Rifts arrive, acknowledging the Warriors' courage and skill. Courage, like Conor McGregor says, and skill before apprehending the rogues. As the Rifts descend upon him, Luther screams. The radio DJ announces that the bounty on the Warriors has been canceled, salutes him with a song in the city. The film ends with Swan, Mercy, and the rest of the gang walking down to Coney Island Beach, illuminated by the rising sun. I mean, it's just such a sick ending, from going from like the Bronx to the trains to the ocean. You know what I mean? It's just like a very East Coast thing. I imagine the movie probably has a bigger like New York and East Coast fan base, because maybe some of the West Coast heads didn't really get it. But if you mess with street gang culture, you're going to support it.
I think it would translate well to any of those urban areas where they've had the subways in other parts of the world as well. Because it does have. Well, it has that gritty take on that era.
Hells yeah. Can you dig it? So let's talk about some development, some casting. The film is based on Sol Uric's 65 novel, The Warriors, which was in turn based on Xenophon's Anabasis, Ancient Greece. Film rights were bought in 1969 by American International Pictures, but no film resulted. Rights then obtained by producer Lawrence Gordon, who commissioned David Shaber to write the script. Gordon had made Hard Times and The Driver with Walter Hill He sent the script to Hill with a copy of the novel. Hill recalls, I said, Larry, I'd love to do this, but nobody will let us do it. It was going to be too extreme and too weird. Gordon and Hill were originally going to make a Western. A lot of people don't know this, but when the financing on the project failed to materialize, they took the Warriors to Paramount because they were interested in youth films at the time and succeeded in getting the project financed. Hill remembers it came together very quickly. Larry had a special relationship with Paramount. We promised to make the movie very cheaply, which we did. So it came together within a matter of weeks. I think we got the green light in April or May in 78. We were in theaters by February 79. So it was very accelerated process. Hill was drawn to the extreme narrative, simplicity and stripped down quality of the script. The script as written was a realistic take on street gangs, but Hill was a huge fan of comic books and wanted to divide the film into chapters, then have each chapter come to life, starting with a splash panel. However, Hill was working on a low budget and tight post-production schedule because of fixed release date, as the studio wanted to release The Warriors before the rival gang picture The Wanderers. Hill was finally able to include this type of scene transition in the ultimate director's cut for home in 2005. We kind of already talked about that stuff, guys, with the comic. But I still think it worked. Booker T is him. Sucker! Casting. I'll do a little bit of casting. The filmmakers did extensive casting in New York City. Hill was considering hiring Sigourney Weaver from Alien and watched a movie she had filmed in Israel called Madman, where the male lead opposed Weaver was Michael Beck. The director was impressed with Beck's performance and cast him in The Warriors. Hill initially wanted a Puerto Rican actress for the role of Mercy, but Deborah Van Valkenburg's agent convinced the film to see her, and she was eventually cast. And there's some other things here. They're not particularly interesting. Let's do filming. Stunt coordinator Craig R. Baxley put the cast through stunt school because Hill wanted realistic fights depicted in the film. Preparation for his role, James Remar hung out at Coney Island to find a model for his character. The entire film was shot on the streets of New York City with some interior done at Astoria Studios. They would shoot from sundown to sunrise. The film quickly fell behind schedule and went over budget. Although the conclave scene at the beginning was supposed to be the Bronx, it was actually filmed at Riverside Park in Manhattan. The bathroom fight scene against the punks was shot in a studio. The entire movie was only filmed in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens. Actor Joel Weiss remembers that filming of a scene on Avenue A in Manhattan's notorious Alphabet City was canceled because there was a double homicide nearby. For the big meeting at the beginning of the film, Hill wanted real gang members in the scene with off-duty police officers also in the crowd, so there would be no trouble. The studio would not allow Baxley to bring any stuntmen from Hollywood, and he needed someone to double the character of Cyrus, so he did the stunt himself dressed as the character. Real gang members sometimes approached the set to challenge the cast members, but were stopped, sometimes violently, by production security. The actors playing the Warriors bonded early in the shoot, on and off the set. Originally, the character of Fox was supposed to end up with Mercy, while Swan was captured by a rival homosexual gang known as the Dingoes, only to escape later. However, Hill watched the dailies and felt that Beck and Van Valkenburg had a great chemistry. This is what Gaz was saying. The script was rewritten so that their characters ended up together. The Rogue's car in the Coney Island confrontation was a 55 Cadillac hearse. Hill was underwhelmed by the script's depiction of Luther taunting the Warriors and asked actor David Patrick Kelly for ideas. Kelly first proposed using 2 dead pigeons, which was rejected as Hill was unconvinced that it would work. While Hill left to adjust some cameras, Kelly went under the boardwalk and emerged with some discarded beer bottles. When Hill returned to the car and asked what he'd come up with, Kelly clinked the bottles together with his fingers and delivered the now iconic sign. I think you're right, guys. This is what it says on Wiki. Warriors come out to play.
Oh, yeah. Pixie let us know that earlier as well. Shout out to Pixie.
Hill immediately declared, go with that. Don't change it. Let's shoot. Hill wanted Orson Welles to do a narrated introduction about Greek themes, but the studio did not like this idea and refused to pay for it. However, the sequence was finally included in the 2005 Ultimate Director's Cut, with Hill providing narration himself. I wanted to take it into a fantasy element, but at the same time add some contemporary flash, said Hill. Those were some of the hard ideas we had to get the studio to understand, but we did not get along very well with our parent company. After the movie came out and it did well, everybody was sort of friends, but up until then, there was a lot of misunderstanding. They thought it was going to be Saturday Night Fever. Hilarious. Shout out to the Rocky cameo in whichever Saturday night movie that is. February 9th, 1979, 46 years ago, my friends, Warriors opened 670 theaters without advanced screening or decent promotional campaign, but still grossed $3.5 million on its opening weekend, equivalent to $15 million in 2024.
Nice.
Controversy. Ruh-roh. The following weekend, the film was linked to sporadic outbreaks of vandalism and 3 killings, 2 in Southern California and 1 in Boston, involving moviegoers on their way to or from showings. Paramount was prompted to remove advertisements from radio and television completely, and display ads in the press were reduced to the film's title, rating, and participating theaters. As a reaction, 200 theaters across the country added security personnel. Due to safety concerns, theater owners were relieved of their contractual obligation if they did not want to show the film, and Paramount offered to pay costs for additional security and damages due to vandalism. You don't see studios paying for that stuff anymore. Hill later remembered, I think the reason why there were some violent incidents is really very simple. The movie was very popular with the street gangs, especially young men, a lot of whom had very strong feelings about each other. And suddenly they all went to the movies together. They looked across the aisle and there were the guys they didn't like. So there was a lot of incidents. And also the movie itself is rambunctious. I would certainly say that. Yeah, it's a rambunctious film. Yeah. I'm not going to do too much media. Arrow Video did come out with a 4K HD Blu-ray a couple years ago, 2023. See how it did in box office. Did decent. Some critics, Pauline Kaye of The New Yorker, she wrote, "The Warriors is a real movie maker's movie. It has visual terms, the kind of impact that Rock Around the Clock did behind the titles of Blackboard Jungle. The Warriors is like visual rock." At Seattle's Grand Illusion Cinema, programmer Zach Carlson remembers, people were squeezed in, lying on the floor, cheering. By its 6th week, the Warriors had grossed $16.4 million, well above its estimated $4 million to $7 million budget. Yeah, I was wondering what the budget was. Like, dude, a $5 million budget for the Warriors, guys. Like, so many budgets get thrown away in Hollywood now for 40, 50 million. That's just trash. Mandela Effect. The Outsiders. Yeah, I need to check The Outsiders. I have it on. It's on
our list. It is on our list, folks.
Hell yeah. Critical reception, a little bit of mixed. Censorship. In France, the movie was X-rated for incitement to violence on June 25th, 79 by the movie's control board des Films Cinématographiques, the official organization tasked with classifying films, which deemed that the work gave a very realistic vision of the urban guerrilla warfare that gangs can develop to conquer a city. Give me a break, guys. Give me a break. This isn't exactly, Che Guevara here. In order to allow the movie to be released in normal theaters, 10 minutes were cut out, including the speech by Cleon. In 1980, the movie was finally re-rated as banned for viewers under 13, and the missing scenes were finally re-added back. This happens. Retrospective, it became a cult film, 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. Seemingly better reviews. Modern retrospectives, The Warriors has been revisited by critics who praised its rhythmic visuals and cult legacy as a stylized urban fable. 2024, Wesley Taylor wrote, "Film was thrilling, gritty tale of brotherhood and survival," noting that despite its early negative reviews, it had developed a massive cult following and was later included in the New York Times list of best 1,000 movies ever made. Soundtrack, the film's soundtrack featuring music by Barry D. Vorzon, Joe Walsh, and others, was released by the A&M label in March 79. Merchandise, Mesco Toys released several action figures on the characters, including Swan, Cleon, Cochise, Ajax, Luther, and a Baseball Fury. Video games, guys, a beat 'em up by the same name based on the film was released by Rockstar Games in 2005. Yeah. The PS2 one guys was talking about. The game expands upon the story, featuring 13 levels that take place before the film's events and depict the Warriors' rise to power. The final 5 levels directly adapt the events of the film with only a few changes. Several of the actors of the film returned to reprise their roles. In 2005, Roger Hill, who portrayed Cyrus in the film, sued Rockstar and Take-Two for royalty fees, claiming the video game used his voice and depiction of his likeness without his consent or paying him royalties. Take-Two asserted its claims that the voice and likeness were a component of his license agreement with the film. Roger Hill died in 2014 with the case unresolved. 2009, Paramount Digital released a beat-em-up scroller based on the film titled The Warriors Street Brawl. Comic books, me and Gazzy's favorite. 2009, Dabble Brothers Productions published a 5-issue comic book. In the same year, Dynamite Entertainment also published The Warriors Jailbreak, a 4-issue miniseries which takes place several months after the events portrayed in the film, involving the gang's attempt to break Ajax from prison. Why would you even care about breaking out Ajax?
Yeah. Let's break out the problematic member of our gang.
Wouldn't they be trying to find Cleon, who is the warlord? Television series, July 2018. Joe and Anthony Russo announced they were working with Paramount and Hulu for a reimagined Warriors TV series. Frank Baldwin was signed to write the series in June 2018. Development of the series was moved to Netflix, but we know Netflix is where projects go to die. A board game, guys? Did you get fresh with this? The Warriors Come Out to Play board game was published by Funko Games in 2022. I bet Gaz rocks with it.
Oh yeah, me and Mac play that every weekend. Can't get enough of it. That's why Mac isn't on his own show at the moment, because he's too busy getting better at the board game, man.
You guys call each other like
we do.
Terrell and Roy Batty and Blade Runner.
We do, yeah. We do. It's
because you guys are far away, so you're like, hey, dude, wait, checkmate, interesting. Come up to my penthouse.
It's our secret. We wait till the rest of the members of PXM aren't around, and then we've got these secret calls going on, and he's like, yo, Gaz, get over here. I think they're all asleep now. We can get out of the game, and we sit there. We even go and do authentic candle on a table, Ross, rolling the dice.
Yeah. You guys know what me and Gaz do on our winter break. It's just like the board game, bro. We just for a month we just wilded out before we write the new season. Stage musical and concept album. I don't know anything about the stage musical, but let's just cut right to the chase. Let's get to Pixie's favorite part. Let's talk remakes. Boy, here's some deleted scenes before I ruin everybody's weekend. Proposed remake in 2005. Director Tony Scott, R.I.P. my dude, announced plans for the remake of The Warriors, relocating the story to modern-day Los Angeles. Scott stated the film would not feature the stylized gangs of the original, such as the Baseball Furies and Hi-Hats. Maybe that was the Hi-Hats you were talking about, guys?
Yeah.
Gang the Hi-Hats is. Following Scott's death in 2012, filmmaker Mark Neveldine, haven't heard of that guy, expressed interest in taking over the project, though no remake has materialized. So for the time being, you're safe, Pixie. For the time being, you're safe, but only for the time being, because it is Hollywood. So,
as I said, I could take a sequel if it was like a post-epoch version, as we said, like we were saying in Judge Dredd, like it's in some like mega city one, but keep the tech a bit lo-fi. That could possibly work, but if you set it in our era or some horrible butchering of it, just
a little corny. I mean, I'm good with the video games, given that the actors already came back to reprise their roles. I would say what I always say, which I said about The Crow and everything else. At this point, where Netflix is at with the anime, either animated or animated series, and then you could get them back and have them do their voices. You got them. Ding ding ding. I'll give you a Dallas mask for that. I don't have a Fury mask, but I have a Dallas mask.
We'll get a gift packed out to you, Jay. Don't worry.
All right. I think that's everything on Wiki, guys. Unless you guys have any final questions for us, let's go ahead and get our ratings. It's going to be pretty easy for me because I'm a Warriors fanboy. So, when we do PXF Classics, it's like not that difficult for me.
This is an easy one to rate.
5 out of 10, almost 120,000 reviews on IMDb. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Brother, PXF Classics shit is fire.
The same on that, a 9 for many reasons, not just enjoying the film, but for the influence on popular culture. So many.
Hell yeah.
There's a game called somebody told me about called Hunt Down, and there's supposed to be a level in that where there's it's like, funny enough, like set in the future post epoch, all gangs controlling different parts of the city, and there's a level where they're a gang who are like cross between the Furies and an ice hockey gang. And I think someone was telling me like the boss fight is a leader giving a big massive speech, Cyrus style. Sure. And he's all like a bit like Lord Humongous as well. So I think that's awesome just for what it influenced. And as we were mentioning, the beat 'em up games, if you think about it, Ross, as well, the film kind of is a bit like a beat 'em up as a film.
100%. Yeah. I gotta say that, it's got to have Final Fight influence. It's got to have Streets of Rage influence. Even doesn't Skate have like kind of the afro and the early Streets of Rage? So just
as I said earlier, just the artwork, just that graffiti style on the title for the name itself, the Warriors, seeing that's awesome. And like we were saying, that poster, I mean, that's just, and that kind of style.
About 10 years later, but you kept saying that, it kept reminding me of like he did that red W, and the way They Live starts. It's that we
Yeah.
sleep, they live graph, and then the They Live logo comes out of the graffiti. So it's like that graffiti logo is a thing that lived on, and I gotta say the Warriors is what stapled that, you know.
We'll have to revisit They Live, even though I've already reviewed it, just because there's so many things we actually see anytime you watch it. So I'll just have
almost
to do
exactly
that
10 years. I mean, 79 to 88, almost exactly 10 years from the Warriors to They Live.
Yeah.
So, the Wanderers, so they pushed Warriors production to beat the Wanderers. So I think it's the same year or year after, but it's very close, practically a year apart or less. And I want to check the Wanderers. I haven't seen it yet.
Sounds.
But yeah, any other final thoughts on the Warriors, guys? Feel free to throw it in there. I think Gaz and I covered it pretty comprehensively. Production, casting, all that other extended universe, video games, comic books, board game.
Real quick, do you think it's one of the few films that has a perfect ending in terms of what happens to the characters?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure it does.
Yes.
No worries.
Happy birthday, Pixie.
Birthday weekend, Pixie. Like I said, we're just an interview with Lauren, and since I don't know, it would kind of be weird for me to review the film that I executive produced. So I think I'm just going to have Lauren talk a lot about like production and what went on the editing side of Camera X. But if you guys want to help out the channel, of course, check out Camera X free on Tubi. Watch list it, make a Tubi account free, like it. You know, that helps us bump it up in the search results. And then if you guys could rate it on IMDb, that would be helpful as well. As we said, I guess Gaz and I could just once again we'll get the schedule posted under the community section for you guys. Lauren Lepre next Sunday. We're gonna bump Saturday, and we're gonna do Camera X in-depth deep dive. John Wick Chapter 2 on the 21st, A Clockwork Orange on the 28th, and then when we post Clockwork, we will get the March schedule up for you guys. The March schedule is packed. Gaz and I are both pumped about it. We have some really sick PXF classics. And the first one, I'll just give you the first one we're going to pop off one is Highlander OG, Highlander 1. So, and obviously Highlander became a massive franchise. There's animes on Netflix. There's the series, the 90s series. There's a lot of sick Highlander stuff. Cleon Def lived, bro. Cleon Def lived. Come on now. You saw those kung fu moves. Check out my Patreon. Go over there. I'm going to get back on the Most Dangerous Game adaptations, and I still have Deadliest Prey and maybe that Most Dangerous Game 2022 adaptation. So Gaz and I still have some fun Grindhouse Most Dangerous Game coverage. Not sure what you guys are talking about in there.
Me either.
Actually, I don't know.
Is it a movie?
Yeah, we don't really know, my brother. But you guys have the schedule. As always, leave recommendations for us in the live chat. You can leave it in the comments for us, and we'll check it out. We'll try to work it into the schedule. We do have some more of like the audience fan picks coming up, as well as the PXF classics. There's really not too much on me and Gaz's radar, as far as like what's coming out big studio wise, but we're always open to do indies. Peaky Blinders solo film, Cillian Murphy is going to be dropping, so we do want to check that out. And then The Thing Expanded, documentary I crowdfunded on The Thing. We want to get back into that with you guys. Aliens Expanded is supposed to be like the most, I think it's 5 or 6 hours long. It's supposed to be the most epic Aliens deep dive ever. And that's the same company. It has Sigourney Weaver, blah, blah, blah. I think it does have Michael Biehn in it. But the thing documentary, it's got, I think almost, I don't know if it necessarily has Russell. That might be a tall order, but I think it has almost all their surviving members for the film, as well as cast and crew. It does have John Carpenter. So fairly impressive on that end, as far as those guys have deep dived The Thing. I don't know about the cartoon series. I know the Rambo prequel is in pre-production right now. What the heck is the name of that guy playing Rambo? I think it's like Matt Centio or something, some Italian guy. I don't know, some young actor. I don't know anything about him. Rambo without Sly, is it something I'm into? I don't know. But it is the director of Sisu 1 and 2, and Gaz and I are with that, so I will say that. The other, what's the other? So I wanted to talk Heat news, Heat 2. There's still talks of that going into production with Leonardo DiCaprio, Al Pacino, possibly Austin Butler, Adam Driver. So fairly stacked, a stacked list there. Is this a serious joke, man? McCoy is way off on Cooper, bro. The only people who think this are Dan Greider and that guy who's like Richard McCoy Jr.'s, Jr. or whatever, his son. No disrespect to the family, but bro, come on, man. DB Cooper pulled off a flawless heist and was not nervous at all. Richard McCoy opened the jetpack, and when it exploded, it rendered the flight attendant unconscious. He then sweated off his makeup and left his flight instructions in the fucking terminal. And they were like, "Hey, is somebody missing this?" And McCoy was like, me. So what kind of heister? Just think about that. Does that sound like DB Cooper to you, bro? Like DB Cooper pretty much made no mistakes. That's why they can't catch him. What up, Beckham? I don't know anything. I tend to be a Braden guy. Maybe Milton. But I don't know. I'm a little bit out of practice on the coop. We got Heat 2 in the mix, buddy boy. I got the book right over here. There is a sick 4K DVD of Heat out. So yeah, we're talking Heat 2. What the hell? Oh, I remember it now, guys. I think this was the other one I wanted to mention. Movie news. So Heat 2, something that Gaz and Mac have been trolling me for quite a long time now. They got me pretty bad a few times on it. Is this so-called face-off prequel, sequel, reboot cool? And if they just have two crap actors playing Castor Troy and the other dude is just going to be trash. But the last promo said that they're going to do Face Off 2 with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. I don't know. I mean, I don't think John Woo is coming back to direct it, to be real with you. So I don't know. But they're both legendary actors.
Like I said the other day when we were talking about it, I'll give it a chance because they're returning. Same. I'm not going to have super high expectations. So
it's going to hard to recap.
Be F off poo? Possibly still, yes.
Yeah,
but
might be a roast.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll try. We're going to try it out. It might be a roast. Henry Cavill has released a couple promos of his new Highlander remake, and that is helmed by Chad Stileski, the genius behind the John Wick super franchise. So we'll be in the mix for. I don't think I've seen Pariah. We'll be in the mix for that new Highlander. That's why we're doing Highlander OG. Was there anything else beyond that? I think that's kind of mostly all we're looking at. I mean, rumors of the Thing project with John Carpenter, but I'm gonna pucker up tight and just not speak on it until I hear what they're actually doing. Because anyway, most people thought like the prequel was absolute trash. I mean, Gaz and I really didn't mind it. I think we both thought it was decent.
Yeah,
but I'm just like a crazy The Thing fanboy, so I don't like.
Yeah, we were covering that as well, and it's actually not that bad. People say,
I don't think it was that bad. So I don't know. It's like the video game already dealt with that. If you haven't played The Thing Reloaded on Steam now, so I don't really want to ruin the mystique of what happens to Childs and McCready. Like the Thing ending is what makes it so epic. So if he just makes a sequel and like it starts right there and McCready kills Childs and then it goes on to a whole other. I don't want it to just get answered like that friggin' like Terminator fart fate beginning when John Connor died. You know what I mean? I just don't want to get in another one of those situations.
Yeah.
No, I mean, so my understanding is, I explained this to Gaz, is that man jumps back and forth before and after Heat 1.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, Val makes the Chris Surlis performance, right? But I will say Austin Butler is I've seen a few good things from him lately. Fade Rotha from Dune 2. He does look a lot like Val. So would you let it slide with an actor that looks a lot like Val? I don't know. Val's a goat. Val's a goat. You're not just gonna like get another Val Kilmer. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, from what they're saying, I haven't read it yet, but the villain in Heat 2, at least in a novel form at the moment, which Ross has at the moment, I'm working on it. The villain is supposed to be insanely epic.
Yeah, no, I want to check that out. I'm going to start reading it real soon. I'd also be down to check out that Warriors novel just to see what angle he went with that, just to kind of like better understand the content. I think that's basically. The other thing is, dude, Gaz, we mentioned this mad long ago. It might have even been with Caesar. And then I think you brought it up a long time, that Warhammer live action series for Amazon. Where did that go? They've never spoken on it. And then Cable said he was developing one, but I don't know if the one he was developing is the same one that was supposed to be live action.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Put us on.
Yeah, at first they were supposed to be doing Eisenhorn, which would be quite an epic story, actually. But I don't know if that's the Cavill one or what. And last I heard was, yes, Cavill was still doing this. I mean, there's... so I don't know where they're going with it, if we'll see that, what will happen. I just don't know, man.
I think his is more Space Marine. What are those guys called? Space Marines?
Space Marines, yeah.
Yeah, I think his is more Space Marine centered, like either he is one. And then, you know, a long time ago, I heard that like Vin Diesel was doing like a space mercenary thing that sounded, I don't think it was like exactly Warhammer, but it sounded very derivative of like another Space Marine mercenary project.
Influence
so
from it, yeah.
I don't know why all these things keep kind of falling off, because Diesel's very big on like Dungeons and Dragons and such. So I assume he's tapped in on Warhammer. You know what I mean? Obviously, okay. Here, I'll give you guys one more. I've seen things here and there. Riddick 4, Furia. Gaz and I will be covering Riddick 4. Love the Riddick series. I mean, he's the man. I mean, Fast Forever has been announced for the release date, but Gaz and I will be covering Riddick 4 before we do a Fast Forever roast. That much I'll guarantee you.
Hey, the way it's going, it could end up crossing over.
Fast in Space. Why am I meeting up with Dom Toretto? I'm already Riddick. It's like that Jackie Chan movie with like two of them, or like
the Twin Dragons or something, isn't it?
Yeah, Jean-Claude did the double impact, whatever.
Double team, or double impact,
What else was I thinking of? Oh, well, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it. We never reviewed this, but if you guys ever need a roast, we can always retrospective it. The Last Witch Hunter 2, with Vin Diesel and Michael Caine. I don't get this. Michael Caine retires, one of the most epic actors of all time.
Yeah.
But like him and Vin Diesel are like they're like best friends. Seriously, they're like best friends. Yeah. So then he's like, I'm coming out of retirement to do Last Witch Hunter 2 with Vin Diesel. What? What, bro? You're Michael Caine. You don't need to do Last Witch Hunter 2 with Vin Diesel, but apparently they have such a good time working together that they think that movie needs a sequel. Okay, bro. Me and Gaz are just two guys on YouTube, bro. Do whatever you want. We'll review it if we can, and if it's a roast, it's a roast. That's out of our hands. So
fast retirement. Yeah.
Dude, fast forever, bro. Give me a break. But I think that's it for us, gentle folks. Appreciate everybody coming through. Shout out to the new subs. The Warrior is 1979, one of the most epic grindhouse films of all time. Like, sub, share. Click the join button for membership. You can check me out on Patreon. You can join free with the Gmail. Give us a like on the Camera X on Tubi. You can also watch list it, make a Tubi free, or give us a review on IMDb on Camera X. Obviously, you guys all want the Zodiac Files episode 5, the Lake Herman Road ambush. So that's going to be the next one up with the main series. But if you join a membership, you will get 24 hours early access. Peace out, Slip. Shout out to Pixie for helping us out with the links. And then, like I said, next Sunday, Lauren Lepre, Camera X in-depth deep dive. Probably talk about a little bit of dark military. And I wouldn't be surprised if Pennsylvania Hardcore came up between Lauren and Gaz, because it always does. You can check that out free on Average Superstar TV channel, Director's Upload. Then we got John Wick Chapter 2. What was the one on the 21st? I think Clockwork Orange after that. And then John Wick Chapter 2.
Is it Highlander?
No, that's March. Just those. Clockwork Orange. Yeah. John Wick Chapter 2, then a Clockwork Orange. So that's really sick. Love Kubrick. A lot of conspiracies there with the Eyes Wide Shut and the Shining. So let's go Pates. Let's go Patriots. Yes. Dude, this is a good call. So you guys have never really let me and Gaz go off on Ancient Aliens and ufology, but
not seen that for a long time.
Is absolutely sick. I love that movie. I love 80s, 90s sci-fi. So that's a good call, Slip. I can get Fire in the Sky on the list.
Very good.
You guys can find what the anniversary is. We usually try to hit things close to the anniversary like we did with the Warriors here. But Fire in the Sky is absolutely
Anakin.
They screened Communion here recently in San Diego, and I was thinking about going to that because Communion is sick. I love Communion. I love Fire in the Sky. There's a lot of alien abduction films that are super interesting like that. So Fire in the Sky is grimy, and I totally believe that. I'm sorry, I'm people who just don't understand that there's more than one planet in the universe, and you think that these things are far-fetched. I don't think those guys are lying about that. I'm sorry. You saw your boy get sucked up by the light in the forest, and then he didn't show up for like a few days and you can't remember what happened to him, but then they just blame all your friends because those are the last people you're with. I mean, I was getting it's the 70s and the 80s. The cops are not going to assume that a UFO came from outer space and abducted your homeboy, but a lot of times there's just no other explanation with these things, guys, and everything else gets looked into and nothing else explains it. Sorry. You know, a lot of people maybe aren't into the cryptids and that sort of, thing as me and Gaz are, but I just don't see it. I just don't see, especially back then, how you can fake that happening to your homeboy. I don't think so, guys. Sorry. That's just me. So, which brings up an interesting conversation, guys. How's there never been a sick movie about Roswell? You know, like a lot of documentaries about it, but there's never been like a sick movie that nailed.
Yeah, this very
or the studios are avoiding it. I mean, it was
this very.
It wasn't recent. You know,
I mean, I've heard there's various indie movies and then some intentionally like indie horror movies on Roswell, like So Bad It's Good kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know there's some of those, but that's true. Or even, oh man, I could open up I'll behave myself because I'm just going to open up a can of worms here.
Yeah, well, so Gaz shouted out, was it what was that last doc that came out, Gaz? The Disclosure Project?
Disclosure, the Spielberg one.
Yeah, there was that one, Day of Disclosure, but then there was a big documentary, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, yeah, because Rubio's in it, isn't he? It's meant to be sick.
There's a big documentaries on the topic, and I've seen a lot of things. I know, what's his name? The dude that works with Jeremy Corbell. Is it the dude from Art Bell, or is he the dude that passed away? George Knapp, right? Weren't the two?
George Knapp. Yeah,
it was George Knapp and Art Bell, and George Knapp works with Jeremy Corbell now. So me and Gaz know a lot about this, if you can't tell, but we spend our time watching a lot of documentaries.
Well, I'll say this: if it wasn't Ross on the true crime part, the channel would probably be that. That would be the thing, and you would see me on that one as well. True crime, I'm like, oh no, but on that, be like, what's he doing here? Oh, he's actually interested in this, which sounds horrible. Just like I've just totally disparaged all your work there. Sorry, ban myself.
I don't care, brother. We still have been talking to a guest behind the scenes about cryptids. We still want to get that Sasquatch show for you guys for 2016. It was a pretty big guest, to be honest with you, and he's in music as well, so. It's not that much of a surprise. So maybe we'll try to reschedule that, try to get some stuff going on the cryptids. And then at some point, maybe me and Gaz will get onto some disclosure for you guys when we feel like it.
Problem with that one, Jay, is I think because literally everything is in there. I mean, that movie could just be endless. That could have more sequels. And you've got Fast Forever. I think that's going to outdo it.
I mean, the first one's kind of legendary with Will Smith and our boy Tommy Lee Jones, but I don't know. Will Smith obviously became kind of a douche. What about the Michael Jackson cameo? Is that Men in Black 2 though? That was kind of dope.
Third one wasn't. Third movie is truly, but truly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't gonna last for. I mean, is it the last one? Like, it doesn't even have either K and J or whatever. It has like.
Do you know, man? I don't think it did. It was so bad. I really don't want to remember it.
If it's a franchise that got to a sequel so far bad that Gaz couldn't handle it, you got to think this is the guy who's the gas station bin god. He brought us Reptilian Man. He brought us so many classics. If Gaz couldn't stomach the sequel, that tells you everything you need to know about it, folks. That tells you everything you need to know about it, folks. Thank you for the pizza slices, my friend. Peace out. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I got things to do, my friends. So I'm gonna go do some things. Oh wait, before we go, you guys always talk about UFC, but you never talk about the Bare Knuckle Championship, brother. Tonight's Knuckle Mania. So before we get out of here, we're gonna put you guys on. You can go to BKFC at Instagram, Twitter. Follow them. Conor McGregor is a promoter. A lot of UFC veterans. Andrei Arlovski, who Gaz and I covered on Universal Soldier 3 and 4, has a title match versus Ben Rothwell, who's also a UFC veteran. Jeremy Stevens been in there, Eddie Alvarez, so many UFC veterans are over at BKFC now. I just wanted to put you guys on and just give you some picks. So it looks like you can watch the prelims live right now on their Instagram or also on Twitter. Lorenzo Hunt is pretty much the GOAT of this sport. He's fought at 3 weight classes. He was supposed to fight Yoel Romero, who's also a UFC veteran. But Yoel got sick or whatever. He got the weight cut messed up from that wrestling fight he tried to do. So now Hunt is fighting Mondell, who I think is also a UFC veteran. both very good. Honestly, I think Hunt might really mess up Mondell bad though, because Mondell's stepping in like last minute. So if you don't have a full,
Last minute, not much.
if you don't have a full camp for Hunt, Hunt is the most dangerous guy in the league, in my opinion. But Rothwell, Arflowski, main event, very dangerous. Rothwell knocked out the last champion in one punch. I think the guy is almost north of 300 pounds. I'm going for Arflowski. I don't know if you saw this, guys. Big super shout outs to Andre Arflowski to get well. He apparently is a 3-time cancer survivor, and he was just treated recently. Keep my wife name out your own mouth. It's a request in the chat, guys.
You're gonna save the world.
Has nothing to do with what I was saying, but you know what? We gotta. You have to give the internet what it wants, as once said. So I'm going. I don't know if you heard about that, guys, about Andre, but he is in his fight. I'm going for Andre, but somebody might not get knocked out in that main event in one punch. I don't know. It could whoever lands. We'll just say whoever lands first is probably going out in that fight. I'm going Andre Magnus from Universal Soldier. I'm going Lorenzo Hunt versus Mondell. We got Johnny Garbino versus Kane Tomlinson. Garbino's like the Italian cannoli guy from Philly. I'm going with him. Then there's Ben Bonner versus Tony Soto. That's supposed to be a big fight. And Mike the Marine Richmond, former champion, versus Joe Elmore. I'm probably going Mike Marine, also UFC champion veteran. And then there's probably not too many other guys that you guys would know on the card. But yeah, I would say if you're not doing anything, go pop onto YouTube BKFC and check out their prelims. I'll talk to you about getting you some alternative source, guys, so we can see if you can get up on that if you're not going out tonight or DJing. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Hey, Will Smith used to be my guy. I mean, I thought I Am Legend was awesome. Like, he made a lot of sick movies back in the day, but it's just like, I don't know what this guy's doing nowadays, just doing stupid stuff. And then, we were talking about this, Jay. Like I said, I'll probably do Deadliest Prey, because when me and Gaz did one, it was absolutely hilarious. And that same actor came back like 28 years later to make a sequel to that. I'm like, where's this guy been? I don't know if he did one movie in between. Like, hilarious. So we'll do that. And then there's like a 2022 Most Dangerous Game remake that I've never seen, so I'll probably do that too. But I did most of them on my Patreon.
And if you want a hilariously entertaining movie, up there with Deadly Prey, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah,
and then the first one.
It's like that sequel. And then what was that last one that we did? Avenging Force, which was like I
don't know if anyone's ever seen it, but go see both Samurai Cop movies. They're truly terrible but hilarious. Terrible, but
is that Trauma or no? Trauma is Sergeant Kabuki, man.
Well, I'm gonna have to get around to covering that as well.
Not far off. If
it really isn't, especially some of the scenes. I'll tell you a little bit about them in a moment.
I'm a big Maniac Cop guy. We were supposed to.
Oh, Maniac Cop! Didn't someone recommend us to do that? I mean, the second one is fire. Maybe it was Patrick from Winter Torment, because he's always going about Maniac Cop. I think it was him. Maniac Cop 2 as well, especially.
We interviewed John Hyams, director of Universal Soldier Regeneration, Universal Soldier 4: New Reckoning.
Isn't it Matt Cordell? Yeah, isn't it Matt Cordell or something like that who played Maniac Cop, the actor?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That dude with the kind of big face, big chin. And then I also did watch Maniac last October, which was like a similar type of thing that had Bruce Campbell in it. But all right, guys, it's dwindled down to nothing. I don't think you guys were big fans of BKFC, but trust me, you might be watching UFC now, but you're finna be watching this in the future. All right, like, sub, share, click a join button for a membership, and of course you can get me free on the Patreon. Make sure to sub Gaz over at Mosh Shinobi. Me and Gaz are playing things in the background, a little bit of Cosmic Invasion, so you never know, we might pop up on either on his channel with some streams or over on my twitch.tv/PlanetXGames. Toxic Commando coming out next month. John Carpenter's first fully co-signed zombie game. I'll definitely be covering that on my Twitch. Appreciate you, Pixie. Appreciate you, Jay. Appreciate you, Slippy. Everybody who came through. So just follow the Twitch if you haven't yet. Twitch.tv/PlanetXGames. And we're definitely going to have Toxic Commando on there live next month. All right, guys. We'll see you next week with Lauren Lepre. Subscribe to his channel, Average Superstar TV. And then we'll be doing kind of a doubleheader for John Wick Chapter 2. Maybe cover whatever else we hear in the John Wick verse. So that's it for the show. The Warriors, 1979, a New York classic, outstanding epic film. Thanks for rocking with us. And as always, sub Gazzy over at Mosh Shinobi. We'll see you guys next week with Lauren. And check out Camera X on Tubi as well. Peace.